Hello everyone, please press subscribe, press follow, press the bell so you don't miss any new clips. Adorable treasured fox, divine Dr. Mother overturning the heavens. Author by Co Chi Yi. Audio novels by Novelist. Chapter 391, Our Unusual Teacher and Student Relationship 2. 6th grade regrowth Dan Pill. Her expression darkens with each passing word while eyeing the three elders. Didn't I already show you three how to refine this one before? I've only been away for a couple of months and this is the results you show me, or are the three of you trying to fool me with some kind of unknown method? Gulping hard at that interrogation, it was Xuanhuan, third elder, who first tried to make excuses. No, it's not like that, Xuanhuan. I really did learn how to make this regrowth Dan Pill. I know, it must be because I'm too excited to see you today. That's why I made the blunder and failed. In terms of being a shifu, the three of them really aren't up to par. However, that's only because their precious disciple was too outstanding. Is that so? Bai Yan clicks her tongue, not believing it one bit. I will lend you my cauldron instead so you can show me the progress you've made during my time away. Or is it that you've been too busy flirting with your good female friends instead? Of her three shifers here, only Xuanhuan, third elder, had the bad habit of being a lascivious old fart. That's why his alchemy and cultivation was the worst among them all. As much as he would love to look for more excuses under this predicament, the third elder knew there's no way out at this stage. Trembling at the sight of the menacing cauldron in front of him, he carefully gathers the necessary ingredients for another attempt. Unfortunately for this senior, the more nervous he was, the more mistakes he would make. Therefore, it didn't take long before the muffled sound of failure signaled the end of his session once again. Unlike the ordinary cauldrons that can be found out there though, this one brought out by Bai Yan had the special feature of containing any blast from within and not sustain any damage, meaning the process can be repeated without danger to the user. Even so, the failure continues. And continues. Ready to cry now upon seeing the gloominess on his precious disciple's face, Xuanhuan's third elder anxiety was starting to take over. I really did succeed back at the Holy Land. I really did. If you don't believe me, then ask your two shifers over there. I really wasn't slacking off, I swear. In response, Zhengqi, first elder, and Renyi, second elder, only shot over an unhelpful look of "we can't save you so don't ask" face, thus sending the third brother there literally trickling with tears of helplessness. Sighing at this exhausting picture, Bai Yan knew she can't push this any further lest she puts her shifu into a nervous breakdown. First follow the method I taught you from before and I will guide you through the rest from the side. Okay. Wiping his old eyes of any remaining tears, Xuanhuan, third elder, musters up his last remnant of pride to tackle this problem. Ellipsis. The entire treasury hall was dead silent after watching this outrageous scene, especially old Lord Lan, who was gawking his eyes out at the interactions between the four. Have you ever seen a disciple who dares to scold their shifu? Have you ever seen a shifu being scolded by their disciple? Have you ever seen the disciple guiding the shifu instead? No, of course not. That's completely against the norms. What's more, the shifers of his precious granddaughter were the elders of the Holy Land. Strong, prestigious. Why are they acting like little puppies waiting to be pitied? Swallowing hard in his mouth, old Lord Lan wanted many answers to his questions, for none of this was making sense to him. Chapter 392, Something's Wrong 1. It was then another fierce-sounding thump came from the cauldron. As such, Xuanhuan's forehead became even more entrenched with sweat. But alas, his nervousness was handsomely rewarded with a faint mesmerizing fragrance from within, signaling the success of his endeavor. It's formed. Slowly exhaling a long sigh of relief, the senior can honestly say he would have fainted if things didn't turn out well this time. It's no secret his precious disciple's temper wasn't to be taken lightly when it came to alchemy. If he fails this time too, even under her guidance, then he might as well find a hole and squirm in there. Sweetie, look, I've succeeded this time, so. Pass me the final product so I can examine it. Only then does Bai Yan's tightly furrowed brow loosen up. Knowing this was his chance to redeem himself, the third elder hurriedly hands the pill in question over while not forgetting to stand in anticipation for the expected praising. Yet, none ever came. It's because the woman had turned away to face her grandfather by then right after taking the beady little thing. Her Grace the Dowager already told you, I'm sure. Whether or not I am a daughter of the Lan house or not, I will always hold the members of this family as my own, as my closest loved ones. Naturally old Lord Lan would be appeased by that statement, evident by that gratifying smile. Don't assume just because this old grandpa was all grumpy and humpy due to his granddaughter's sudden departure, he only did that out of stubbornness. In fact, Bai Yan was his pride and joy. Your mother Lan Yue made a lot of stupid mistakes in her life, but I can say this for sure, she taking you in as her own was the greatest choice she ever made while she was around. In response, Bai Yan only raised a smile of neither agreeing nor disagreeing with that statement. Grandfather, your cultivation is almost at its limit, so it will be difficult to achieve anything further. However, if you take this regrowth Dan pill, then you should be able to regain your youthful energy and break into the king rank. As a sky rank master, old Lord Lan was already the family chief of a first-rate noble family. Now he can actually become a king rank master and compete with the royal family. Of course, there's no such thing as a free meal in this world. Yes, it can help the old Gramp regain some of his youthful self through the consumption of this pill, but that requires time due to its fierce nature. That means the duration of fully digesting the medicine might take months, or even years to allow the individual to fully take advantage of its effect. This old Lord Lan almost couldn't keep his legs steady as he eyed Bai Yan and the beady little object there. If there is such a good thing out there, then how come I never heard of it before? Not missing the surprised expressions shooting out of everyone's faces, Xuanhuan was the first to explain, and in a very proud manner as well. The recipe is something Xuanhuan created herself. Aside from us three and herself, none out there will know how to create it. Furthermore, the effects have also been greatly reduced for a regular person's consumption. If not, you would immediately explode and die considering your current strength. In the past, medicinal concoctions like elixirs and Dan pills used for cultivation purposes are usually reserved for king rank individuals. If not for Bai Yan's appearance and bringing her reduced versions of various formulas into this world, such a claim would have been immediately shot down as outlandish. For a moment there, all eyes were on the woman, thus causing her to feel both guilty and uneasy with good reasons. This level of control and knowledge was never part of this world, it's something she brought over from her previous life. If not for the Holy Land taking her in and allowing her to discover how rudimentary and backward the alchemy here was, she would have still been stuck in the illusion that it's just others being not talented. A humph, coughing to clear the mood, Bai Yan awkwardly changes the topic. Grandfather, why don't you and everyone else go down first? Third Shifu, he still needs to practice some more, so it's best we not disturb him. If it was in the past, old Lord Lan would have definitely refused the gracious gift for fear of offending Xuanhuan. However, that's completely changed after seeing the way these four are acting. Chapter 393, Something's Wrong Too. Okay, then all of you take your time. Turning back to the other members of the family, the old grandpa makes a timely cough to dismiss them all. Come on now, let's not disturb them while they work. It's getting late anyways, so turn in for the night. With that said, old Lord Lan then turns away towards the door with his hands behind his back like a proper senior. As for the rest, since the family chief already said it, then what else can they do? In a matter of seconds, the entire treasury hall was emptied with only 4 people remaining. Xuanhuan, you see, nervously rubbing his hands, Xuanhuan, third elder, carefully asks, I've already succeeded in refining. But before the third elder could finish that sentence, Bai Yan had already taken out a formula sheet from her pocket to toss it over. I have written the details of the refining method in there as well as the parts that require extra attention. In order to avoid having you 3 blow up the place again, I will lend you my cauldron first while you practice. When hearing how there's a new recipe to be had, Xuanhuan's third elder eyes instantly lit up. Sadly for him, in the moment where he wanted to reach out for the precious paper, Renyi, second elder, had already pushed him aside to snatch up the thing. Move aside. The formula is mine. I'm first. The second elder greedily declares. Naturally this annoyed his younger brother who just got his new toy taken away from him. Why do I have to give it to you first? Who the heck are you? I am the second child, so that means I get to be on top of you. Besides, your strength is the worst among us. Once I learn this new formula, then you can have a shot at it. Oh yes. Didn't you hold a fancy for the sixth elder's widowed sister? Go play with her for now and not come bother me. Renyi, second elder, righteously says this. Ahumph. It was then Zhengqi, first elder, cuts in with a cough, his voice stern and serious. My age is the biggest of us all. Reasonably speaking, it should be I who. Scram. But before the first elder could even finish that sentence, the other two brothers had already shot him down with their own glare. As if anyone would care about seniority when the formula is in hand. So what if he's the first elder? If the two of them joined hands, then he can only stand there and take the beating. Seeing how the three elders are about to get into a big fight over her little sheet of paper, Bai Yan can only say she's too embarrassed to even let others know about this. Couldn't you just copy that into 3? Her voice may be soft and quiet, but it was more than enough to knock some senses back into the trio. That's right. How could we have forgotten something so crucial? Now we've really thrown our old faces away in front of Xuanhuan's presence. This. Still red in his face due to embarrassment, Zhengqi's first elder wanted to say something to smooth out the awkwardness. Sadly, nothing could come to mind. Like usual, once you've memorized the formula, then burn it. Remember, if it gets leaked into the public, then don't think about getting another one from my hands again. Straightening their backs immediately at that reminder, the trio promptly turned serious like soldiers ready for combat. You can rest assured, Xuanhuan, we won't ever let the formula leak into the public. Even if the Lord Secret Leader wants to know, we won't tell him. Obviously, from Zheng Qi's form of speech, the elder doesn't seem to hold the prestige of the Holy Land's Lord into consideration. None at all. Ellipsis. The night was deep and the sky was quiet. Say it, what is your reasoning in seeking me this late into the night? And did you carry out the orders I gave you? Daikang calmly asks, apparently affected by the peacefulness of the night. King, your subordinate, I have already informed the state teacher of your will, but this time it's for another matter that I am here. What is it? The man's tone suddenly turned cold after hearing it's of another matter. The demon beasts of the abyss are falling into disarray, and the various chiefs of the demon clans are also getting into disputes. If this continues, then the world might fall into chaos at this rate. Inside the abyss, what's the strongest demon beast in there? My king, it's the monarch rank. Fireplume the firebird answers honestly, afraid his words might infuriate his king. Chapter 394, Something's Wrong 3. Monarch rank? So the demon beasts out here have already devolved into such a weakened state now. When compared to the demon realm, the demon beasts out here in the mortal realm would naturally be much weaker. If not for Daikang's lack of interest during his time here over the years, he would have already known about these facts, hence the reason why he had to call Fireplume's subordinate to investigate. No matter, they may be weak, but they are still good enough to be my son's bodyguard. I will personally make a visit to the abyss to have an encounter with them. As for you, stay here and protect your queen and prince. Yes, my king. Bowing his head, Daikang's subordinate respectfully complies with the order. Ellipsis. The next day. On the bustling streets of the royal city, the events from yesterday was still the talk of the day among the populace. But not everyone was interested in others' business. Take Wang Xiaopeng Chubby, for example. The boy was still busy stuffing his mouth with the meat buns that he could barely make out his words to his friend. Oh Xiaokan, you really are my big brother. From now on, if anyone dares to bully me, then I'm going to throw out your name and have the Holy Land shroud over me too. Despite being older than his friend there, the chubby was rather complacent and smooth in calling by Xiaokan the big brother. The kid had no ulterior motives really, he only wants to show those who exalt him from home what it means to cross him. Wang Xiaopeng, Bai Xiaocan eyes his friend with an intrigued look. I've been meaning to ask you this, but what sort of mistake did you commit to make your grandfather kick you out of your home anyways? First wiping his mouth after ingesting that giant portion, Wang Xiaopeng proudly cocks his head high like he did no wrong. I beat the crap out of someone. The person then went to protest in front of my grandfather and threatened him, adding in the coercion from the other old farts in the family. My grandfather could only yield and expel us from our home. Then why did you beat him? I didn't like the way he looks. Didn't like the way he looks. Popping his big little eyes, Bai Xiaocan was filled with astonishment and horror at his friend's statement. Because you didn't like the way he looks so you beat him. What kind of reasoning is that? It's no wonder Uncle Wang would often beat him. Turns out it's Xiaopeng who is the unreasonable one here. Ah! Suddenly screams broke out among the busy market, causing the chubby to jerk up out of reflex and dropping his bun in the process. But before they could make out what's happening, the poor chubby boy had already been swept away by a giant behemoth of unknown origin. Xiaopeng, jumping up, Bai Xiaocan screams for his friend that's quickly disappearing from sight. By this point the baby white tiger had also been alarmed to the commotion. Jerking up also from his resting spot nearby, Little Rice swiftly goes on the offensive by raising all of his hair up in a predatory stance. Little Rice, hurry and chase. With the order made, the baby have time to worry about the fact that it's the main street in the market. Following a puff of smoke, he's now a gallant white tiger of considerable size. Fast. Mounting his friend with a swift swing of his body, Bai Xiaocan pursues his friend's tail in close quarter. As for the frightened crowd who finally managed to recover from the shocking scene, most were scrambling to flee for their lives while some kind-hearted ones rushed off to make the news clear to the land house. While the outside was breaking out into a mess, Bai Yan on the other hand was lazing around in her own garden until one of the servants frantically barged in on her beauty rest. Miss. Something big has happened. Frowning at that claim, she looks up to be surprised by the presence of another stranger standing there. What happened? It's your son. The young master is in trouble. Chapter 395, Something's Wrong 4. Something happened to Xiaocan. Bai Yan's complexion grew whiter by the second as she struggled to stay upright. Nevertheless, she knew this was no time to be panicking and forced the unease back down. What happened? Miss Bai Yan, the stranger behind the servant then came forward. I just saw the son of the Wang family being swept away by something out on the main street with your son hot on its tail. I fear they might be in danger if something isn't done. What did you see? Her face growing paler with every word. She already told her son not to go out so often in the next couple of days due to her own worry, yet, things still ended up this way. It looked like a big green snake. Green snake? Is it? Fire-plumed servant come out. Following this command, a flaming red man then swiftly descends from the sky and took to the knee before her. Bai Yan was well aware of Dai Kang's absence today. This also included the fact that this firebird was in charge of protecting them both while that irresponsible man was away. Is it her? She clenches her hand so hard that a crunching sound could be heard. From the very beginning Bai Yan had long known about Dai Kang's secret admirer from the demon realm coming to make trouble, hence the reason why she would ask if it's her. Queen, my guess is, it should be her. A thick layer of sweat had enveloped the poor man's forehead, causing his human form to look awfully nervous. Can you find her? A serious level of killing intent was quickly filling the garden, turning even the gorgeous flowers in the background into a sea of thorns. The only thing Bai Yan wants to do right now was to skin that snake alive and then bury her into the deepest hole she can find. Therefore, it's almost guaranteed there will be consequences today if Fire-Plumed Servant says he cannot. Your servant I cannot find the one known as King Luan Snake, but we can achieve the same results by locating your pet Little Rice. Knowing this was not the ideal solution, the kneeling man quickly shuts his mouth in fear of saying anything more. Take me to find them. Annoyance could clearly be heard in that voice. Obviously this wasn't what she wanted to hear. Her son was her life, that's why she will never allow anyone to harm him, not this King Luan or anyone else. Ellipsis. Inside a secluded valley, a giant long snake was currently rampaging through the greenery towards a certain cliff. You are dead now, you shitty snake. Once my big brother gets here, then you will see how much trouble you are in. The chubby's badgering was relentless, constantly reminding the surroundings of his existence. Do you know who my big brother is? I will tell you and make you die from shock. His mother is the disciple of the elders of the Holy Land. If you try anything like eating, then I'm going to tell on you and make you pay for this. Wah. Likely annoyed by the irritating yapping, the green snake only knew how to do one thing, and that was to gag that mouth with its tail. Seriously, who can possibly put up with that voice? But that wasn't going to sit well with Wang Xiaopeng. He's so used to having his ways that he will not be deterred. Biting down with full force, only then does the chubby regret his decision, because it was so hard that he nearly broke his jaws. Roar. It was then a loud howling roar broke their antics, followed swiftly by a baby boy riding a majestic white tiger. Little Rice, first patting his friend's head to indicate him to be on the ready, Bai Xiaocan then shifts his attention over to the green snake. Release my friend this instant. Chapter 396, Threat 1. Ho ho ho. The green snake appears unfazed by the threat. If you want me to let your fat little friend go, then drink this bottle of poison. Only then can you save him. With that said, King Luan readily tosses the bottle over to the boy with her tail. Bai Xiaocan didn't immediately move. Instead, the baby boy only eyed the poison in front of him like he's contemplating something. Mother said there must be a reason for hatred in this world. For you to use my friend to lure me out here, then there must be a purpose. What is it? Fine. It's not like it matters anyways, so I'll tell you. King Luan's voice suddenly became sweet and gentle, like she's in love. You can only blame yourself for being the Demon King's son. If I don't control you, then how can I become the queen of the demon realm in the future? Demon King. You mean my baddie father? Wrinkling his cute little forehead, only then does the boy understand this was his father's fault again. Who allowed you to address him like that? King Luan's expression instantly turned sharp, snapping back at the kid for the rude remark. Just because you're his son doesn't mean you can sully his majestic name. He is our king, our god. Puckering his lips in displeasure at being lectured, Bai Xiaocan makes a heavy grunt and refused to acknowledge that last part. What is it that you want in controlling me then? Of course, he didn't forget to signal his friend Little Rice to be on the prowl when he gives the sign. I've already told you my purpose for today. As for controlling you, that's none of your concern right now. But enough of this. If you want to save your chubby friend here, then drink that poison, otherwise. To emphasize her point, King Luan narrows in her serpentine eyes and slammed her tail at the cliff, thus causing Wang Xiaopeng to cry profusely due to the scare. What sort of ability is that to threaten others using a hostage? Or are you afraid of fighting my big brother in a one-on-one combat? As the old saying goes, one can't lose their stance even if they lose the fight. Although Wang Xiaopeng has been imprisoned, but that doesn't mean he will act like an obedient sob and do nothing. As such, King Luan's complexion could only get colder and darker with each passing curse from the boy. If you keep struggling, then I will throw you down the cliff immediately, her voice seething with anger. The threat definitely scared the chubby somewhat, causing him to stiffen up. Even so, that doesn't mean that mouth wouldn't keep yapping. If you have the ability, then toss me down there. I'm not afraid of you. After 9 years and I will be another man again. By then I will return and settle the score with you. As proud as that statement was, King Luan didn't take it to heart and only revealed a pang of disdain from her mouth. Nothing but a human, and he wants me to take him seriously. Tired of dealing with the yapper mouth, King Luan returns her distracted attention back to the baby boy. I'll count to 3. If you don't take the poison by then, I will toss him over the cliff. As unwilling as this was for Bai Xiaocan, that hand could only reach out for the ominous bottle. Xiaocan. Wang Xiaopeng became increasingly urgent in his voice. This snake is obviously scheming something bad. Don't listen to her. At most I will just die. I may be afraid of death, but I will not be turned into a coward. When it's over, just avenge me. Knowing this wasn't working as that hand inched closer and closer to the poison, Wang Xiaoping immediately shifts his focus to the majestic tiger instead. Little Rice, go take my big brother and flee. Go find Sister Bai Yan and get revenge for me. Sadly, no matter what sort of pleading the chubby did, Little Rice wouldn't budge. That look in the tiger's eye showed he was waiting for an opportunity. Of course, King Luan wouldn't miss this reaction. Staying on guard throughout the confrontation, she was ready to toss the chubby down the cliff at a moment's notice. Chapter 397, Threat 2. By this point Bai Xiaocan had already picked up the poison. If I drink this, will you let my friend go? I don't have any reason to kill him if you do. So, hurry and drink that so I can return your little friend. As much as the snake was trying to sound reassuring, her slithering voice only made it sound even spookier, like an evil witch coercing a child into her boiling cauldron. All right. Without giving anyone a chance to stop him, the baby boy flicks the cork off and directly chugged the content into his mouth. I have done as you asked, now release him. Since the boy was so obedient and did as she said, King Luan figured there were reason to make things difficult at this stage. Releasing her hostage from her tail, she randomly tosses the chubby boy over. Thankfully there was Little Rice around to catch Wang Xiaoping from the fall, otherwise that tumble would be quite painful for the little fella. How can you drink the poison, Xiaocan? If you die, then what am I supposed to do? What if someone bullies me in the future? Who will help me? Crying tears of genuine sorrow, the chubby immediately rushed over to his friend the second he got on his feet. While the boys were busy having their reunion, the kidnapper on the hand had other plans in mind. Emulating a greenish glow from her body, the giant snake transforms from its slithering existence and into a beautiful young maiden. By no means was King Luan's human appearance bad in any way. In fact, her looks were enough to captivate any mortal out there. Sadly, when compared to Bai Yan's stunning beauty, this snake demoness simply lacked something crucial to push her up there in the top 1%. First of all, let me introduce myself first. I am King Luan, the young lady of the Snake Clan and also the ideal candidate to be the queen of the demon realm. Brimming with confidence in her smile, the woman carried the signature trait of the slithering nature of the snake species in her voice, but due to the state teacher's interference, my father's proposal to marry me to His Majesty has been blocked at every turn. It's as she says, the letter seeking for a union didn't even make it past the first stage of the palace gate, let alone into Daikang's eye. For that reason, she's still holding quite a grudge against that man and intends to expel the person from the demon realm once she's queen. Batty father may be mean to me, but his taste isn't that bad. He already has my mother, so of course he wouldn't fancy an old witch like you. Since King Luan no longer had Wang Xiaoping as a hostage, that meant Bai Xiaocan didn't need to be scruple in his manner of speech either. Cold in her smile still, the taunt apparently didn't work, and how are you supposed to know His Majesty's true thoughts? The reason why he never took a wife over all these years is because of the rumors circulating in the demon realm, or do you really think your mother can be the prophesied savior of the demon race? Precisely as she says, there's a very old legend in the demon realm that all would know. The demon king must marry only his predestined woman, otherwise the world will fall into chaos and the end will be near. As a result of this, the females of the demon race were all aching in their hearts at this legend. They wanted to gain the favor of that enchanting man, but none has ever succeeded over the years. Even without my mother, Batty father still wouldn't marry you. Oh, sarcastic in her tone, King Luan was rather frank there, that may not necessarily be the case. With your cooperation, I'm sure things can be arranged to my liking. And how do you want me to cooperate with you? Blinking his big innocent eyes, Bai Xiaocan was rather confused by that last statement. Chapter 398, Threat 3. As long as you tell His Majesty that Bai Yan is not your mother, then that's enough. A scheming light swiftly emulates out of the snake demoness's eye. Are you that stupid, or do you take Batty father as a fool? If he can find me through my blood lineage, then why would he believe the lie? In light of that innocent smile like there's no malevolent intent, those eyes on the other hand were filled with contempt at the snake woman. I will have everything arranged accordingly. You only need to follow my commands in order to act. Also, I've found another woman to replace your mother already. Come on out. When King Luan's last sentence came forward, Xuanhuan was definitely a tad surprised there over the identity of the specified individual. Perhaps it's due to the boy and the tiger's divided attention earlier, but now that they are aware of a third party being present, their senses were definitely on full alert. Why is she here? A frown instantly overtakes the boy's expression, showing how unprepared he was over the person's entrance. Bai Ruo. I thought she was being confined by Auntie Hualuo. How did she escape and not alarm mother and everyone else? Seeing the doubts in the lad's face, King Luan only sneered with contempt in her slithering tongue. I am the lady of the snake clan, so of course it's easy for me to create some illusions to fool your mother's people. They still think she is inside the dungeon somewhere. What is the purpose of doing this? Even if you let Bai Ruo replace my mother, you would still be unable to become my father's wife. Besides, shifting his attention back to the subject, Bai Ruo is a very cunning woman. She's not going to obey your orders. In response, King Luan also shot a dark gloomy glare at the woman. She was already on her last breath when I rescued her. Not only did I save her from certain doom, I also fed her my venom as insurance. If she dares to defy me, then death is all that awaits her. Nodding his cute little head, Mao Xuanhuan finally understood why someone like that would willingly submit to another's will. Turns out it's the threat of poison. Bai Xuanhuan, sounding like her voice was crawling out from the very depths of hell, Bai Ruo's eyes were horrifically vicious like a monster. Don't you forget it. From now on I am your mother, while Bai Yan is the one who stole my position. Since Bai Ruo has learned of King Luan's identity as a snake demoness, it's only natural that she too would learn of Dai Kang's actual identity and why the man could control the demon beasts of this world. But no matter, in the future the position of the demon queen will be mine. Ha ha. That's right, Bai Yan. No matter how you struggle, you will still lose to me in the end, and at the hands of your most precious son no less. I have arranged everything already. So long as you listen to my orders, then I can make His Majesty falsely believe Bai Ruo to be your true biological mother. With that said, King Luan then reveals a cheeky and smug grin like she's won already. Displeased by how those two were already deciding his fate, Bai Xuanhuan promptly puckers his cute little lips to correct their fault. Evil auntie over there, I believe you have made a terrible mistake in your assumptions. My baddie father is only into my mother. Without her, my existence means nothing to him. Isn't that right? Baddie father often found me to be a bother and would even compete with me for mother's favor. He even tried to give me away to someone else. And mother said that one must be filial in life. If I can't even do that much, then how can I be a proper person? Chapter 399, Threat 4. Don't forget, you've been poisoned by me. So long as I will it, then you will die an unbelievable death. I won't believe that a fledgling like you can withstand the pain. King Luan's expression became dreadfully stern. In addition, you said that His Majesty is only accepting you for Bai Yan's sake. How ridiculous. Who do you take His Majesty for? There's no way he would lose his reasoning over a mere mortal woman. Not going to believe the cold hard truth, the snake demoness then snickers with contempt at the boy, her eyes oozing a gleam of frost. It's you who's asking for it. Don't even think about asking for mercy in a bit. By the way, the poison I used on you is directly from me. Even if your mother is a skilled alchemist, she won't be able to save you this time. Seeing how indifferent and unmoved the lad was, the snake woman intends to let him have a little taste to showcase her might. Let's see how you will resist me then when you are wailing in pain on the ground. Turning sharp in her eyes, King Luan starts invoking the venom that's currently circulating within the boy's body. Tick, tick, tick. Time seems to have frozen over for a while there. This includes the smug smile on the dreadful woman's face. This is impossible, her greenish eyes popping over at the unresponsiveness. How can this be? The venom was created by the elders of the clan after many years of trial and error. It's impossible for a simple kid to resist the effects. Biting her lips, King Luan pushes her will to the limit with every intent to incite all of the venom within the boy's vein to activate. But as time dragged even further along, the only change that occurred was her own palish face getting whiter. Now things are not looking good for her at all. It was already terribly hard to resist the oppression from the blood lineage of the kid, now she's even lost her hostage. Bang! Finally blown away by an invisible force, King Luan only had a few steps behind herself before falling over the cliff. As for her complexion, it's whiter than a ghost. The venom, it really failed. Not blind to the sudden change in event, Wang Xiaopeng only blinked at first in confusion before returning to his old haughty self. Oh, that scared me to death. If your poison is that crappy, then don't bring it out to use, do you know no shame? Ah, nearly choking at her own incessant coughing, King Luan almost wanted to scream, it's impossible, there's no way the venom wouldn't work on you. Bursting into a brilliant smile, Bai Xiaoqin's glee cannot be hidden from those eyes. I forgot to tell you, I've been eating the various medications from my mother since I was born. Even if your venom is toxic and deadly, it will have no effect on me. Due to the constitution of the demon race being so much stronger than a mere humans, it's very much possible to improve one's body through consuming various herbs and miraculous ingredients. But due to the fact that there are no alchemists in the demon realm, it's only natural this snake wouldn't be baptized to this knowledge. Miss King Luan, what are we going to do? Turning to the demoness, Bo Ruo also grew anxious. Without this kid's help, I won't be able to be the demon queen then. You shut me up. Flaring up at that last comment, King Luan clearly didn't like how that was phrased. Who do you think you are? If not for the circumstances at hand, you think you are qualified to be the demon queen. Chapter 400, Snake Clan's Ancestor 1. Shuddering in her heart, Bai Ruo unwillingly lowers her head. I am obviously better than Bai Yan in everything. Why must she always get the good stuff while I can only do that by using my all to achieve the same? Then what are we going to do, Miss King Luan? Gnashing her teeth, King Luan's venomous gaze turns back over to the kid. Damn it, what else can I do? We're withdrawing, she cries out, not looking back anymore. She's a careful person. Now that she's lost control of Bai Xiaoqin, it's imperative that she leave this place to reconsider her plans immediately. Unfortunately for either of them, there's no way the baby boy would let this opportunity just slid him by. Little Rice. In a swooping blur, the majestic tiger was now blocking the snake's path, his tongue elegantly licking his paw like a king face its prey. My little master never said you two can leave. Impudent. Roaring out at the disrespect, King Luan was ready to lash out when her senses suddenly picked up a fierce aura swiftly coming their way. Likely it's due to how familiar this aura was, Bai Xiaoqin's stern expression instantly softened somewhat. Mother. Ellipsis. The reddish figure in the sky was enchanting and beautiful, marred only by the tense mood she was in. However, as soon as her eyes fell upon that small little steam bun on the ground, her heart finally released itself. Xiaoqin, Mother's finally found you. Are you hurt anywhere? She swoops in, pulling her son into a hearty embrace. As much as Bai Yan was trying to hide her fearful nature right there, that voice doesn't lie, it's trembling still. Thankfully he's all right, thank you. Mother, I am so scared. That evil woman wants to harm me. Teary and pitiful, Bai Xiaoqin nestles himself further into that voluptuous breast while his eyes shimmered with light. Twitching in his tiger mouth, Little Rice didn't even know what to say in response to that scene, him being scared. Why do I feel like he was having a lot of fun instead at the very end? Besides, there isn't a person in this world who can bully the little master yet. Even so, it seems that Bai Xiaoqin's act was working pretty well on his mother. Showing a frosty cold face that's seething with anger, Bai Yan focuses in on the perpetrator. If you have the nerve to scare my son, then you better be prepared to pay the price. What? By the time King Luan manages to react to that statement, it was too late. That reddish figure was already standing before her. Because of how ominous and dangerous the air was in that split second, even Bai Yan's hand seems to have evolved into a scythe ready to reap her life, forcing the snake to retreat in haste. Knowing how shameful she was acting before her so-called love rival, King Luan knew it's now or never. Gnashing her teeth, that humanistic appearance instantly goes through a transformation and returns to her bestial form of a giant green snake. Our snakes have the hardest body. Except for the dragons, there are no bodies of any demonic race that can be compared with this. Bai Yan, I know your strength is in the king rank, but you can forget about harming me at all with your sword. End of the chapter. Adorable treasured fox divine doctor mother overturning the heavens, will be read in 10 chapters for every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday. Please leave this sound novel and press subscribe, follow, and the bell so you don't miss any new clips as well. See you.